That's
Live.
right.
And
Hey, what's up? We're
what's
ready,
going on,
sir.
everybody? Hey, today is Wins and Losses Friday.
I,
What? Super cool new little
I,
video that we
I,
got going.
I love that intro. I do. I like that one for Friday. That is sweet.
You know what? I figure it gives us a little jazz
Exactly.
wazz pizzazz for Friday. I don't even know if that
Yeah,
makes sense, but it makes sense to me, so it's all that matters. So
yeah.
today is Wins and Losses Friday, and I think DJ and I conversation about this. We've had many conversations about this, and yeah, as there's positivity and there's reality, right? Like obviously, I'm a firm believer, big personal development guy, Napoleon Hill, all this kind of stuff, and Napoleon Hill said something where he says, you know, every challenge, every obstacle, there is a gold nugget, and we have to look at the positive side of it even if it's to the point where we don't allow it to break our spirit. And I think that's one of the key elements in when we look at losses and wins, right? Like as we go through our week, there's a bunch of losses. A good friend of mine, Andrea Waltz, who is the queen of Go for No. Her and Richard Fenton created Go for No. She says, you have to get through X amount of no's before you get to a yes. So instead of having a yes quota, have a no quota. And if you don't get 400 no's in this week, you haven't made enough calls, kind of thing. And again, it goes back to this perspective. It goes back to, but what we wanted to do on Fridays was share some of our wins and some of our losses with you, mainly because you're not alone, right? Like I remember when I was in the pit when I first started, it was one of these things, DJ, where I was so afraid to have prospects say no because I'm
Oh,
thinking everybody's like eyeballing me, going, "Oh man, you suck, dude! Like, get a grip."
Jesus. Yeah.
And you know, even beyond that, and pretty much every salesperson I believe will relate to this, right? You grow your business and you get to a certain point and you stop selling. And I think all of us have
Oh,
been
yeah.
there. And you stop selling, and then you go to start selling again, and that depth of business that you have actually creates this like mental block, I think, where it's like, well, I'm doing 20 grand a week. Like, what do you mean you're going to say no to me? And if somebody says no to me, oh man, like, do I suck? Like, I don't know. For me, anyways, I don't know about you, but for me, that was
Oh, man.
that was
Yeah.
a big thing I needed to overcome in my sales career was how in the hell do I accept no when I know that I could do the work,
Oh man,
right? And
you're just going through the internal battle of every salesperson out there. That's literally all of us. Uh oh, who'd he hear? He heard somebody. He jumped.
yeah, front door. So go for it, DG. Yeah, it's the internal battle, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Internal battle for sure. And again, yeah, it's so weekly wins and losses. That's what we're talking about here. And really, guys, yeah, we're trying to just kind of, and I kind of want to throw this out there, kind of as a PSA. I mean, our group is called Freight 101. It's for freight brokers, carriers, shippers, and I mean, it's all around. I'm dealing with so I obviously have my brokerage side of the business, but those beautiful gold pieces of wood behind you or behind us now, which I love that you added that those pallets. You told me the story about that, and you'll have to get into that and kind of
Well,
just give the
I
heads up to
figured
everybody out
Friday.
there.
Yeah, well, I figured Friday we'd change it up a bit, right? Make it more casual, more fun. And
Oh yeah,
the gold, like if you had a yard that looked like our background,
you're a
like,
millionaire.
oh, dude, you're rocking. Like, I mean, everybody is looking. We were. I was telling DJ we've done a bunch of construction over the summer, and we got skids and sod. And one of the deals for the sod being delivered was I must have it off of the skids within 3 days for them to come pick the skids up. Like, and it wasn't a we'll charge you more. It was like, no, just we're coming to pick them up, have them ready to go. And I almost felt like it was more of a If not, we're just gonna kind of dump the sod on the road and we're gonna take our. That's the way I felt, right? But I mean,
That's
it's
insane.
amazing how I think about as little as 3 years ago, right? I worked in the major heart in a like Mississauga, just outside of Toronto, and almost everywhere you go, there was stacks of skids at the end of the driveways from manufacturers, right? Stacks of skid at the end of the driveways from people that purchased goods and brought goods in. I mean, there was stacks of them. I remember buddies coming over with pickup trucks filled with skids, and me spending an hour cutting it up for wood for like a fire out
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
right? And it's amazing
Yep.
how in a very short period of time these things shift,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So
You,
one of my students actually, and this is a great story, and I think it's a great win for all you salespeople out there. He called me one day. He goes, "My God, Dan," he goes, "This being an asset to the company thing works like it's awesome." I said, "Well, what happened?" He says, "My customer was their shipping just dropped. Like they were shipping tons of freight." And he goes, "And all of a sudden it dropped." And he called them up and said, like, "What's going on?" They're like, we can't find pallets to ship our product on." So what he did is he spent 2 hours doing research in the area, actually found a company that had just started creating pallets, so that there was no marketing. It was kind of like,
oh, so
that needle in a haystack that he found. He
yeah,
connected the two. Within 3 days, this guy's got a ton of freight coming back through his door, right? So
smart.
big win.
Yeah,
Again, not about freight. Client goal achievement. We need to ship X amount of product out. We need to keep our clients happy. So big win, like big win, because he's thinking
absolutely.
outside the box. He didn't just, oh, okay, but when you get pallets, just let me know. He's like, you know what? This is an investment, and that customer um, is like loves him because of it, because he solved a problem. But again, he solved a problem that wasn't freight. And when I
Right.
say that, some people might say, well, it was freight, Dan, but it wasn't. It
It's not.
wasn't
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
things from A to B. It
Hmm.
was the back end, right? Like it was a big win.
Oh, that's a huge one. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's what we and that's I, I think that's where you have doing this show with you. You have shifted my mindset to thinking that way a little bit for
thank you.
those kind of wins. So
Yeah,
thank you for that. But yeah,
right.
it is huge to just be able to and what Dan's saying. I mean, this could be wins for everybody. I had a similar win. I will talk about I guess a little bit. So a little back and forth, and for the brokers out there who kind of have that internal battle of the AR that keeps growing and the companies you're with kind of being pissed off of where's this money. Um, it was okay, hold on. These guys are good. They're always paying. Something's up. So I, reached out, and again, it wasn't to. It was mainly to my source or my main connection. And hey, can you introduce me to who handles and who is handling the billing? Where's it going? And just kind of threw him off at first, like, what are you talking about? And then it was, well, listen, this is what's going on. This is what I want to figure out. I don't want you getting these emails. I don't like seeing them myself. So how can I fix this? And again, it was doing the show with you, but made me kind of do that shift. And I was like, let me figure out how I can fix this. And so
Hmm.
just kind of piecing through the steps and figure it out so we can come to an even they're not going to get the emails anymore. Everybody's on the same page. It was just kind of that a little disconnect of communication that is huge. But
And
that's where
it could create massive problems.
that's where we played the difference. I mean, and so I'll go a loss now on my end. So being a shipper, because guys, even though I'm a broker, I do have this crazy thing behind me that we're trying to do a little bit of that pallet craze. Those
Now you
pallet.
should actually break down that trampoline before you ship it, just to save a little bit of cash, brother. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
that's 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 for us to play on. Whenever you, that's for us to play on here. But no, so but being a shipper, I do a mix of full trucks coming in to LTL and had a good win. I'm not going to blast anybody, but good win with one of my LTL providers and clearly they are feeling the crunch. They wouldn't, and here's the thing, and here's the only reason I'm bringing this up, honestly, is it again has to do with communication. If they would have just reached out to me, and this is where, guys, this is just key. I'm seeing it from the other side. But if both loads picked up on the 11th, both were a 1 day transit. Now, obviously, you guys know LTL. That's kind of like intermodal. You really never know when it's going to show up sometimes. But that being said, the next day, the one from North Carolina showed up here in Ohio. Indiana, right next door, was not here. No clue what's going on. No updates, no calls, no nothing. What is going on? It's crazy. And so finally had to reach out, but it was me having to reach out instead of them just a call. But it's because,
Now,
again,
DJ,
that's
can
the
I ask
difference
you?
of the big customer or the
Yeah.
big carriers, big companies, and the personal touch of somebody like us. And that's where you have to build that value. That's where the value is with us, guys, the smaller guys, the little guys. It's the personal
So
touch,
I got to ask you
it's the
this
customer
because
service. Go ahead.
you've got a different perspective than shippers because you're also a broker, right?
Exactly.
So you have this
I know the
um
game, but
well, but you have this level of value that you bring to all of your customers.
yeah.
And that level of value that you bring, you expect back. And I think when you don't get it,
Oh, it pisses me
it
off.
it's even more
Oh my
frustrating,
god,
right? Like
it drives me
yeah.
nuts. It literally makes me want to explode. But it's again. I mean, that's why I started this group to begin with, guys. I think I said in one of my first posts for the group for Freight 101 tips and support for freight brokers, carriers, and all. Um, and it's not just for freight, guys. This is sales. We're talking a lot that'll help in any industry of sales, but to what I was saying, I started this group because I worked for one of those big guys, and the lack of customer service and the lack of value of our clients. I mean, you see it all over. Targets, WalMarts, the big guys. They can just crap on everybody because they just got enough customers that it doesn't matter. That's but the only way you get there typically as a small guy like us is the customer service, is the little things, is the going above and beyond for customers. And I think we're totally losing that as a society in a whole. And it's just, well, if it's not from Walmart, I don't believe it. If it's not from this place, I whatever. And we gotta put more value on the customer side, on the customer service. And yeah, those were my wins and losses. Sorry to kind of go on a rant,
Sweet.
but
No, 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 it's good. It's good. So
drives me
I've
nuts.
had m- my my loss for the week was um more of a getting stuck kind of thing.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is, you and I had this conversation yesterday when we were figuring out what our wins and losses were for the week. It's
yeah.
I got stuck in an education cycle instead of an execution cycle. And it um win without hold on. So what do we got here? We've got
Oh,
Jacob says, have you heard of the book Win Without Pitching Manifesto? It's about positioning and value, like you're just talking. No, I didn't, but you know what? We're gonna have to grab that
added
because
to the list.
this
I'll be
this
downloading it on. Is it available on
yeah.
Audible? Jacob, let me
Oh,
know if it's available on
yeah,
Audible.
definitely, because it'll be on Audible for both of us. But this is actually it's funny Jacob brings that up because this is exactly it. It's you know, you read a book and it's got great strategies, and a book is 2 to 3 years of the author's trial and error, testing what works, what doesn't.
Yes.
Because
Sometimes a
typically it's
lifetime.
a
Sometimes it's a
well,
lifetime. I mean, some.
but think about it. Think about all the knowledge you can get for like 18 to $30, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's crazy what we can get. But and it goes right along this scenario is I had a strategy I wanted to deploy, and I wanted to test, and I found myself, well, I'm just going to read one more thing on it, or I'm just going to watch one more video on it.
Mm,
Um, It's not. It's very exclusive by Blair Enns. So
All
he says
right.
it's not on
No, that's all
it's
right.
not on
I
Audible.
got to get
Okay, so
it
we'll
just
have to
because you're
find it.
talking about it.
Amazon will have it.
Yeah,
Um,
I got to get it.
so it's I found, and the thing is, like, at the time it was happening, it wasn't a this is procrastination. It was a I'm not 100% about it, so I can't do it kind of thing. But
Mm,
in the end, what I realized is the education led to procrastination. And I realized there's a very fine line that we have when we're trying something new. So I started asking myself 5 questions in order to really get my head around it. Like, will it will it have an impact on my career? What is the impact? Is it sustainable? Can I'll deploy it in the next 24 hours, and then I schedule it in? And it kind of hit me because I've always talked about, education is key, but it can't stop execution.
yeah, yeah.
And and
Sometimes
I
and I get into that same funk. I'm going to tell you, yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes you just want to like you're just so because I do the same thing. Get so into learning new things that I forget to execute the things that I just I didn't even test them. I just want more. Just
Hmm.
more and more and
Hmm.
more. Yeah, same
Well,
thing.
and the thing is that one piece, right? Like, I remember, and I shared with you this article that I wrote because it's kind of rehashing now, and it's funny. These things go in cycles, right? Like,
Mm,
if we don't correct it, it goes in cycles. So if you're experiencing, for all of you listening, if you're experiencing the same challenges you've experienced over and over and over and over again, I think it's mandatory that you really need to stop and say, okay, why am I still seeing this same thing? Is there a strategy out there that I'm not deploying, or am I not learning from the challenge? So here we go. I
yeah,
think this
yeah.
will be Ryan. Dan, do
I'm
you think a
guessing
part of
that's
it
right
is
now.
coming
Yeah.
off a holiday Monday? I always feel the holiday blues after a holiday Monday. Don't think so,
Uh,
because, and I'm pretty sure that's Ryan, because sometimes he comes up, sometimes he doesn't come up. But
yeah, it's weird.
I don't think so. I think it's more of a, um, like, I think as salespeople, we want every single strategy or every single thing we try to work, right?
Yeah, of
And I,
course,
I think,
of
and I
course.
think
I think that's just
internally,
humans. We want everything we
yeah,
try to just work.
well, yeah, I guess not even just salespeople, human. But I think internally for me, it's like I put so much effort into every single thing I do, right? Like I look at, the perspective of other people, right? Oh, it must be nice, right? Oh, yeah, you had tons of business. Oh, yeah, you led teams. Oh, good for you. But it's like, do you realize the work that goes into it? Like, when I was running a sales team and I was training sales people at a very large brokerage, it would, like, I would work until 11 or 12 at night creating the frameworks to help these educate this team to do more, be more, and achieve more. Like,
Mm,
nobody sees that back end. Like, I look at, we've done massive construction over the summer, right? And we put in a beautiful pool with a really nice, gazebo, and it's kind of, we're creating our backyard oasis, right? Like, COVID has taught us it's not just
yeah.
vacation; it's where you
It's a
live. That,
the
you know
staycation. There it
the
is.
staycation. But I think a lot of people have done it. So,
Mm,
as I show people, it's like, oh, this is nice, man. Must be nice. And but you know what? You didn't see the amount of effort, the stress, the anxiety when our contractors quit on us because the bulk of the profitable part of the project was done, and they had so many others. So all of a sudden we get forgotten about. Where you didn't see the stress when we fired them, and I was out there every day from the second I finished work there till it got dark, hand mixing like 497 bags of concrete to fix the issues they created. Like, nobody sees that effort behind it, right? And I
that's what.
think, for me anyways, DJ, what happened was I was sick of things not working. So internally, if you educate, I think it gives you that dopamine drip, for me anyways, because I love education. It gives me that dopamine drip to think I'm getting real things done, if that makes sense. And I'm trying to bring
It
it
ma-
across in
oh, it makes so much sense to me. I connect completely with that. But I know that's Ryan for sure. Then yes, Ryan, you're right. But And I will disagree with Dan. The holiday thing that kills me. Every time I have a Monday off, it's like I should just take the whole week off because I'm just ready for Friday.
But I
Then,
like this. It's like DJ's talking about the bamboo from a couple of episodes ago. People admire the flowers, but not the dirt.
yeah,
That's
it's the
actually
work.
pretty well said.
The work. Listen, so I did a little more digging on that. That's kind of funny. Did a little more digging on that. But I found out that, and I don't know if this is totally true, but I tried to research as much as I could. Bamboo trees grow like 90 feet underground for the first 5 years. All you see is a little sprout. That's all you see for 5 years. You're watering this thing. It's literally growing 90 feet underground for 5 years. Imagine building your pipeline, your sales pipeline, your everything for 5 years just to hope that boom, it's just going to skyrocket like the bamboo. That
Then you're an overnight success.
it will exactly, but nobody know. Yeah, yeah, overnight because nobody
Yeah,
knows about all
exactly.
the watering you were doing
Exactly.
prior to. Yeah,
Exactly.
same thing.
Exactly. So that's my loss. That's my big loss for the week. But I also think that loss, and this is kind of the key reason we're doing wins and losses on Friday,
Mhm.
is because when we realize it and put something into action, that's where all the benefits come. Like I believe anyways, or if we can't say, yeah, huge loss, dude, you don't understand. I called this guy and he just tore me a new arsehole. And you know what? You hang up and you're like, all right, well, I'm going to try a different approach than that one next time.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And it's like,
Ouch.
right. And it's like, but I think it's detaching from ego. I think it's realizing that, like I look at, just the last kind of 2 years as to what's happened. And I look at people making huge strides, right? And I look at people that are challenge after challenge after challenge. And I often say to myself, like, what's the difference? The difference is perseverance, the difference is consistency, the difference is retooling, I guess, for lack of a better word. Like if you're doing something and it's not working, let's change it. Have the confidence in yourself to change it. And my friends, this is coming from somebody that literally in the last 2 weeks, I'm my inner perspective is this is okay. No, no, no. But you know what? When I go, this is going to be gangbusters, right? So just to give you a little update, I went. It totally flopped. Like I wasted 2 weeks because everything is a put it out. They often say sales strategies are great. You can be the best salesperson on earth, but you're not going to connect with everyone. And that's
Mhm.
fine. And I even got and I put out a new ad and I got this person that came back and says, when you shit on my timeline, so I'm going to shit on you, and it's a picture of a toilet. And it's funny because I I was
That's
like,
funny.
what the hell is like my first reaction, not a response, it was a reaction. It was like, you know what? This effing God, what are you? I'm trying to help people. What are you doing with your life? Right. And I started getting into all this to the point where I literally went to his Facebook page and I'm scrolling and I'm totally wasting my valuable time. I
Oh,
let
that's
this
so funny.
person suck me into his world and I'm
He has
looking and all of a
nothing.
sudden it just hit me. And I said, you know what? Pay attention to the source. Like, and my wife and I talk about that all the time. If you have somebody in your life and they're like, and you offer something, you have a customer that consistently crapping on everybody else and something goes wrong and they crap on you and you get pissed off, you're like, whoa, pay attention to the source. I decided to deal with this person. So I decided to run an ad. I have to be okay with other people wasting precious time trying to bring me down. A perfect example.
Mm.
Brian Byro, one of my mentors, says, when I first met him, he gave a speech to the Matrix Club, and we were all there. And he says, here's the thing. He goes, it's like you're driving to work, and this person just cuts you off. I mean, cuts you off bad, and you're blowing your mind. That person's like, man, 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 drinking their coffee, and it's just what they're doing. They're late, whatever.
Oblivious, totally oblivious. Yeah.
Like pretty much oblivious, right? You get to work and you're telling every single person in your office how like this person just and what an arsehole and and that person's off living their day, conscious, not even not even understanding. They're controlling your day. They're living their day. They're going on. They're doing their thing, but they're controlling your day. And it's crazy. And I stopped DJ and I just said, I just let this guy, no clue who it is,
Yep.
control an hour and a half of my time.
Not
And I
even
stopped and I
spiritual.
went, yeah, and I went like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, there's there's, I forget what they call them, creepers, not crawlers, trollers. There's like trolls
Trolls. Oh
everywhere
yeah.
on the internet, right? Like
Oh yeah.
everywhere, in every group, and every like,
Keyboard
and it's like,
warriors. Keyboard warriors, they call them.
yeah,
Trolls. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
Same thing. Same thing.
brother, I was just, and it blew me away because it was like, oh my God, I just learned something. But don't let people live rent free in your. Oh, I love that.
And
That's
it's
good.
and what it comes down to really is, and it is spiritual. I'm just going to go with it there. It's
Yeah,
forgiveness. Just you got to forgive right away and forget it. Forgive and forget it because they're not even thinking about it. That's with anything though. You're holding on to anything, you got to forgive because
yeah.
they probably have no clue that you're pissed off about it to begin with. So just
And
just
this person, for lack of a better term, shit on my timeline and
mhm.
went on with his business.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
allowed him to control my day
He's
for a
living.
good hour and a half. But not only that, think of transitions here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I let him control me for an hour and a half.
Hmm.
How long did it really take for me to get back in the groove? And that to me was the biggest aha for this week, is not only did I let them control an hour and a half of my time, it took me about another hour to actually forget about it and get back in the groove. So now I've lost 2.5 hours of my time, right? In one day. How
Yep.
many times do all of us as humans let something else control us and take control of our day? And for how long? Because 5 minutes a day, right, adds up at the end of the year. 10 minutes a day adds up at the end of the year. 30 minutes a day adds up at the end of the year of lost productivity time to achieve our goals, to live the life we want to live, to reach our destination. We must be bold, fierce, and unrelenting in chasing our dreams. And wow, that
That
just, like,
you,
inside right now
you
just
feel
went.
relieved right now, don't you? He's like, yes. Well, maybe it was more than 2 hours, like you said. Maybe
It very
you
well
just
could have
like
been.
golden now. And I'm going to
Dude, I
tell
got
you,
an hour and a half sleep last night,
sa-
so
sa-
maybe that was part of it. I don't know.
same here. So I did. Obviously, my bigger loss would be the personal loss. Same thing with the whole the one LTL showing up in the next day, and the other one I had the frustration of the customer side first. Like, I need this shit. Where is it? Like, fuck. Like
How
no
much
planning,
time did it
no
take? How
nothing.
much time did it take out of your day?
Oh, all day. It pretty much ruined my whole day yesterday.
Yeah, there you
Destroyed it.
go. Hmm.
I was numb to anything. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so
Now, I'm going to come back on you just
yes,
because
yes,
of this.
yes, yes, yes.
Ryan says, "Don't let people live rent free in your head."
They were up
And
there.
you know what? I would even go. I
Dancing
would even go
around.
further. Try not to let situations live rent free in your head. You,
Don't
you know,
know.
it's funny,
It's not.
DJ, because
It's not what happens to you. It's how you react to it. That's
respond,
literally.
not react. Respond,
Yep.
respond.
Respond. Whatever.
Reaction,
Respond. Yeah.
reaction is a lower level of consciousness. Response
Correct.
is a higher level of consciousness. And here we go. I just finished saying how I reacted to this dude for an hour and a half. No, DJ, don't react. It's a lower level. Unreal. But you know what?
Uh,
It's true, brother. It's just
Oh,
it's
it's so true. What
you
about
know.
Ryan? Ryan, you seem pretty active out there. Any wins or losses we can talk about for you? I'd love to hear it. I
Well,
think
here, you know what we'll do also.
who else was out there? A big
I'm
wins
going
or
to
losses.
copy this. I'm going to do this.
Jacob,
Anyone on Facebook or anyone on YouTube
anybody?
that
Let's.
wants to jump in, if you click that link, we'll let you in and actually just chat with
Yeah,
us
yeah.
live if you want.
Come in.
And then what I'll also do is I'll go over to LinkedIn here. It doesn't let me do it LinkedIn from restream, I actually have to go to LinkedIn. And what I'll do is I just entered the link in LinkedIn too. If y'all are interested in jumping in for the next couple of minutes here while we're on, be our guest.
And, and
Um,
and as a PSA too, just to kind of like really tie this all together with the responding or reacting, uh, the landscape of what we are living in today obviously is going to keep people. You're gonna, it's gonna be hard. It's going to be hard. We're all living through something really hard. Depending on where you're at, it could be even harder. Um, and so just don't let that destroy what
oh, if you don't, so Jacob says, if you
uh,
don't heal from things that hurt you, you will bleed on things that didn't cut you.
ah,
Very cool. Nigel,
that,
my man. Nigel,
that is a
good
great one.
forever. I promise that one Friday I'll get into a session from the start. Yes, sir. Nigel, anytime, brother. Anytime you want to jump in, you are more than welcome, my friend. I'm still looking forward to finally getting a chat with you, buddy, and getting you on the podcast and everything. So we're
Yeah,
golden there, brother. Anytime, man. But yeah,
man,
anyone that
Jacob,
wants to
hold
jump
on.
in,
Bring
I know it's
Jacob's thing back up because that is I'm copying that. Jacob, thank you for that. That is great. Yeah, if you
that
don't
is
heal from things
killer.
that hurt you, you will bleed on things that didn't cut you. That's
Mm.
man. Uh, I don't even know if I
There's
can
some
say anything.
serious gold here
Yeah,
tonight, man.
that
Like
was really
we
good.
got some serious like sayings that people are just killing it, killing it out here.
Oh,
Win started off. Oh, here we go. Win started off with a loss. Had a great conversation with current customer about current issues, and we set up a solution to win. Lost prospects going ghost. So hey, you know what, Ryan?
you're
Here's
always
the
gonna have
thing.
that, man.
Here's the thing. Yes, Nigel, definitely will do it. Ryan, here's the thing. You are never going to avoid ghosting. Here, I mean, Ryan, you and I have talked about it hundreds of times. My belief is the second you get a hold of somebody, everything from that point forward is scheduled. And,
Yes.
I've often found, so I guess there's kind of two folds, right? You have the talker, the one that says, yeah, 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 and then doesn't really do anything, never backs it up, right? I'm finding there's a lot of those out there today.
Okay.
And
Yep.
then the second one I think we have somebody who's very interested but is pulled in a million different directions. And if we look at traffic managers as a whole,
Mhm.
um, one thing out of the conversations I've had, because every week I try to talk to at least three new traffic managers. Like one of my missions is to connect with at least three. Just like, what is your mindset on what's happening? What is your mind? And depending on like the scope of the business, they have different mindsets, right? If somebody manufactures all in house, they've got a supplier down the road, there's no big supply chain issues. They have a different mentality than some customers that, like, I have one really good friend, their entire company imports from Asia. That's all they
Mhm.
do. They don't manufacture anything. And he is pulling his hair out right
Mhm.
now with the issues from East Asia. And not only that, it's great right now that prices have dropped, but it's going to create a massive storm in the next 60 days. And he's like, Dan, he goes, here's the thing. Every single conversation that I was having to better my business has now flatlined because
Mhm.
here's my partner that I'm using for shipping. It's okay. Can it be a lot better? Yes. But am I getting like insane amounts of flack about it? No. And then I have these people that I know will do better, but I'm having so many supply chain issues, I have to flatline because I don't have. And here was one key thing that he said to me, and for every sales rep listening, regardless of the industry, he goes, I don't have time to train people to get them to the point where this supplier is. And I think we as salespeople miss that every single time. And Ryan, not that this the L you took this week about being ghosted, it might not be this, but I don't think we put enough thought into what's really going on in their world.
Mhm.
It's just an immediate, oh, they ghost me. What a jerk. We had a great conversation to ghost me. Like, is there something that happened? So this customer that I'm talking about, he's like, I have like three people I'm having really good conversations with, and I really think they can help. But I have to focus on my priorities. Again, somebody who's not, who has mandates, And in order to do that, he's got five big moves that he's doing. He has to focus on those five moves. But we know based on that, that sometimes one move has to go to the wayside to accomplish two or three others, right? As much as we want to work on our five moves every single day, there may be
Yeah.
one day where we got to work on move number one, and that's all we can focus on. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to start keeping track of how many times I have to move calls or shift my schedule
Mm.
because I reevaluate my priorities. And Ryan, maybe that I hope that helps in maybe a
And,
different
yeah.
perspective on the ghosting.
Oh man, and you're so right. Yeah, if you're not constantly reevaluating your five, your big five, or whatever you're focusing on, yeah, you're definitely going to get lost. But to your point, real quick. Hold on, it's
It's a
progression.
progress. Nigel says it's a progression of agreements. It can't be as bad with you as it is in the UK. We have to understand before we can be expected to be understood. Stephen Covey, I love that. Another gold. Man, we're dropping gold left, right,
Steve,
and center.
Steve Covey,
We got a gold background with pallets. Now we're dropping gold in the front. This is
this is
awesome,
the
man.
golden. This is gold. But
I love that, Nigel.
to your point about customers ghosting too, I did have an older woman who was one of my customers, and something happened to her. This was a few years ago, but something that had happened to her, and I thought she just ghosted me. I thought she was gone. Like, what happened? Like we had projects, we had this, we had that. What's going on? And so I thought like maybe I screwed up. Well, it was something health wise happened to her. So
Yeah, I don't think we really know, right, until we get down to it. I mean, but I think it's kind of that same scenario. We've been ghosted
so
by
much,
so
yeah,
many
yeah,
times that we
yeah.
just automatically assume.
Feeling
And
the
I'm
worst.
going to
Yeah.
go back, and especially in Ryan's position. Ryan probably got ghosted when he wasn't as good as he is now, when he
Mm,
focused on freight instead of relationships and all that. And I think that sometimes our perspective is we go back to that old school, like, I still remember when I first started in the industry, it was, we called it dialing for dollars. And it was,
mhm.
and I remember, oh, Dan, if you hear them say they deal with yellow freight, it's like a cash register. And every time, and I know now, based on my morals, my ethics, my belief, and my strategy in selling, it actually sickens me, but
Yeah,
I still hear the register sound in my head when customers would say yellow, because I realized I could make a mint off these people. And for me, it wasn't about how do they achieve their goal. It was I could make a mint.
yeah.
So if I could do 2 minutes of work and make $1,000
See, but
and
that's
not validate it,
but again, that's
I'm good.
for this industry. That's what I seem to be. Any of the big brokerage houses that I've worked at that seem to offer any kind of training. It was just what you're saying. It was the very basics. Just dollar for dollars. Just get freight.
Yeah,
Just
but you
ask
know what,
freight.
DJ? That's the
Find
reason I
freight.
started my
Move freight.
company, because
It's insane.
it's fractured. The way sales is taught in logistics and transportation is totally friggin'
Oh,
fractured.
it's terrible.
It's crazy. It's all about immediate. Like I would
Mhm.
much rather work on a deal for 6 months and keep it for 10 years than work on a deal for 2 weeks and keep it for 3 months. Like
Yes.
think like as salespeople,
Yes.
think about our longevity. Like how do we want, and I say this to every single one of my students, what do you want your life to look like 5, 10 years down the road in the industry? Do you want to be stressed out, on medication because you got ulcers because of stress? Or do you want to, make this career enjoyable? Do you want to wake up 3 years from now and friggin' hate what you do? Like, I remember when I was doing that and driving to, especially for us in the wintertime, like driving to work at night and coming home at night, right? Like,
Mhm.
pretty much never seeing the friggin' light of day except through an
Yeah.
office window.
Yeah.
It was like,
It's
did I
torture.
really break my
It's kind of
back for
torture,
20
really.
years to do this?
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah. No, I get that for sure. I get that for sure. Oh man.
Good session. Good
Yes,
session. Do we have a
it
quote
is.
to close it out today? Because we got
Man,
some
well,
gold quotes here. But did you get a quote to close it out today, brother?
not yet, but if you want to, I do have one. I already have one in mind for what we've
Go
been
for it.
talking about. But you, if you want to finish and kind of give them a layout for, I guess the
Well, you know
plan.
what? I guess here, I'll finish with this because this is actually a quote as well. But um, it seems like there's been a theme all week on LinkedIn specifically. Um, and I've used this quote this week probably more than I've used it in the last 5 years. It's what you do screams so loud I can't hear a word you say.
Uh,
And we say we want these big businesses. We say we want to earn a lot of money. We say we want to help a lot of people or a lot of customers or move a lot of freight. The question is, what are you doing every day to make that happen? And I think it's something that, um, you know, I think it's something that we, above that, sorry. Oh, okay. Now I'm just talking about UK
oh.
logistics, the sales approach. Logistics in UK has the sales approach that they deserve. You have to go above that premium service, premium price, 100%. Nigel,
Mhm.
one thing that I've found is when I actually stopped selling freight and I started selling goal attainment and image credibility and brand, my margins skyrocketed because there's a different perspective on what we want to do.
Well, because
Again,
they see the value. They're seeing the value. That's the thing.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
seeing
Like
the value.
Jacob says, people don't slow down and find out why their customers might buy. My experience has been customers buy because of one of three reasons: quality, price, convenience. A lot of those customers that prioritize price and convenience are not worth a. Oh, you see, this is where it cuts it off.
Yeah.
So we have to go
Yeah.
here. Are
Not
not
worth
worth
as
as much
much.
as our time. Lots of turnover, 100%. And it
Absolutely.
goes back to, if we go into every interaction, every call with the thought process, what is this going to look like 5 years down the road? Is it, DJ, we've talked about many times, not all money is good money and not all customers are good customers. That's just what it is. But you know what? On the flip side, because you're a customer, not all suppliers are good suppliers. I don't care how big you are because you had a major issue with a massive carrier. So, yeah, you got a lot of reach, you got a lot of power, you got a lot of market purchasing power, or whatever the
Yeah,
fancy dancy word is that they sold you on. but
yeah.
but it's like this, guys, you're not a fit. For
Mm,
lack of a better term, Richard Kay from CEO Space told me one day, he says, Dan, you got to find out if somebody's congruent with your message. If they're congruent, you hit. If they're not, move on.
yes.
That's the nucleus of the right message, right person training that I do. Like it's the nucleus of it. It's insane how we try and fast talk. Yeah, absolutely. Nigel, you're 1000%. I would say even go to a step further, qualifying right away because you have a cleaner pipeline. I've always said, and I know this isn't a training session today. We're more talking about wins and losses, but it's like I have my baseball diamond theory. First base is qualify. The first thing I do when I get on a cold call or when I get on the phone with a person that wants to become a student is I qualify them.
Mm,
And here's a great example. Like for me, my mission is to help 10,000 sales reps do $1 million GP in under 12 months. And if I get a sales rep on the phone who says, I want to do $1 million this year, it's perfect. What are you doing now? I'm doing $1,000 a week. It's like, come on, man. Like, do you got a pipeline that's, jammed full with multi-million dollar, double-digit million-dollar accounts? No. Haven't sold in 6 months. Okay. So 12 months is not going to happen. Like, call a spade a spade. You might hit, you might be lucky, but you know what? Let's look at 24 to 36 months to get you there. But in the next 24 to 36 months, you will be doing $1 million GP in under 12 months. So, like, that's what I mean by qualifying. So, customers, it's the same thing in my mind. Like, hey, you know what? I'm doing, it's kind of like what I shared with you on one of my blog posts that I'm going to be putting out shortly. It's like, if you had a customer that says, I'm doing it $1 a mile, can you do any better? It's like, thanks very much. Have a great day. Because I'm not going to waste my time for 2, 3 hours, or more importantly, waste my ops team's time, my team's time to chase something that's not going to, in the end, benefit us long term. And I think for me, that's my approach for everything now. Because if I can spend 5 more minutes figuring out if DJ and I are going to connect long term, the amount of time it saves me in the end is astronomical.
oh man, yeah. And Nigel, he's so right. So just on a few things that they said. So first, what Jacob said is so right with the don't slow down, and the three reasons. One of the ways that I qualify a customer, even if I have a good understanding after I do a few loads, especially if they have tighter margins than what I really want to be at, I always hit my customers with those three things, and I ask them, I put them on the spot. What's most important to you? Quality of service, price, or convenience? And if they say price is number one all the time, I mean, you know where they're at. They're being
Hmm.
honest with you, and they're telling you where they're at, and you
Hmm.
know. Now, but
Hmm.
then it's your job to figure out, well, why is price so concerning? And that's where you become the professional and dig deeper, like Dan kind of is talking about with everybody. But
But and
then,
Nigel's got it perfect here. He says,
yeah,
if having listened to you, I can give you X, Y, and Z for the price of W, is that okay? Deal with price right off the start. I think
yes,
Ryan's heading out. Thanks for these gems, gentlemen. Well, Ryan, you know what? You drop gems yourself, my friend. So,
yes, thank you so much,
take
man.
us out of here with a
Yep,
quote,
here we
brother.
go, guys. So the the road to construct, the road to success is always under construction.
Bang,
Always under
brother. See
construction.
you guys next